Hello, Internet. Welcome to top 10 list? What is this madness, you're probably asking yourself? Well, you know what? I've always been jealous of everyone else always getting to do top 10s, so here we are. Just something fun to squeeze in between theories. But since I'm an admitted noob to the top 10 game, I've invited one of my favorite creators of top lists to help me out. Please welcome Violent Buffalo.
It's Brutal Moose, actually.
Vicious Antelope.
That's closer, I guess.
Mildly irritating Wombat.
No, that's not even the right family of animals.
And what better list for the creator of a series of videos meant to educate through video games than a countdown of our favorite educational video games?
Now, Matt, since this is a top 10 list, we're going to have to establish some ground rules. For instance, only actual educational games, explicit learning. Nothing like Portal, which certainly teaches, but where education isn't the primary focus.
I'd also say we're ranking games based on depth and breadth of learning, as well as fun factor. Did these games really want to make us learn?
One might say our formula is 50% education factor, 50% fun factor, 20% does it still hold up today factor, and 10% nostalgia factor.
That's 130%, Ian. Somebody call Math Blaster!
Sesame Street ABC was a game released on the NES and contained two separate games, Let Her Go Round and Ernie's Big Splash. Let Her Go Round is a small word game that had you completing, creating, or simply replicating words.
I've never actually played this one before, but you seemed pretty convinced that it's some quality edutainment. My first impressions? It's dark and creepy.
But that's what made this game so great, Irate Wombat. It's the darkest children's game ever. No music, minimal sound effects, creepy cutouts of your favorite Sesame Street characters convulsing on the screen. It's just a stark, barren universe where your only solace was learning. Like sensory deprivation. Break them down and build them back up with simple lessons about the alphabet.
You do realize that you're talking about breaking down kids ages 3 to 6, right? I mean, it even says it on the box.
Education is war, my friend. What side are you on?
Your side, I guess?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Ernie's Big Splash is a pretty simple puzzle game where you try and return Ernie's rubber duck to him by using a series of different tiles. Ernie's reaction when he gets the duck back is a little creepy, but I guess that just fits in with the rest of the game.
You know, I may not have played this game, but Ernie's Big Splash reminds me a lot of The Incredible Machine, where you had to get something from point A to point B using various gadgets and gizmos. It was also bright and colorful and not creepy at all. Maybe we should put that game on the list instead.
Sure, but does The Incredible Machine have a Sesame Street sing-along? Does it?
No, it doesn't.
That's what I thought.
Man, this is taking a dark turn. And speaking of dark turns...
I'm Chet Brinkout with a special report. The world is breathing a collective sigh of relief today.
If there's one thing that children should learn early, it's the crippling effect that stress can have on a person. And who better to teach that lesson than childhood hero Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Okay, people, we have got a problem.
Stressful is right. In Bill Nye the Science Guy, Stop the Rock, a meteoroid named Impending Doom is on a direct path to Earth. Lucky for us, a team of scientists has invented a laser system called Meteoroid and Asteroid Exploder, or MAX.
Unlucky for us, Max has developed a mind of its own, and it's not so sure that humans deserve to be saved. In order to prove the human race worthy of salvation, we've got to answer 7 science riddles posed to us by the machine.
As if the fate of the world wasn't enough to carry on our shoulders, there's also a time limit. Impending Doom isn't just gonna wait around for us, it's hurtling right towards Earth. If we don't solve those riddles in time, well, then it's time to say goodbye to the entire world.
You know, as stressful as this situation is, there are much worse ways to die. I mean, you're exploring Nye Labs and doing science experiments with Bill Nye. This is a childhood dream for a lot of people. If the world has to get hit by a meteor to fulfill that dream, I mean...
Don't you think that Bill might be a little disappointed if you let a meteor crash into the Earth?
Oh man, you're right. That's where the real stress comes from. You have to stop the rock, sure, but you also have to try and not disappoint Bill Nye. The only way this could be any more stressful is if it was called Mr. Rogers Stop the Rock.
Yeah, but that wouldn't make any sense.
I'm not saying it would make sense. I'm just saying that disappointing Mr. Rogers would be...
Why would Mr. Rogers in any way be involved in trying to prevent a meteor from hitting the Earth?
I hate you so much right now.
But seriously, a Mr. Rogers themed game would involve a Feed the Goldfish minigame and a character select screen of choose your cardigan, not saving the planet from meteoroids.
Dude, I think the video has already moved on.
Okay, fine, we'll talk about Museum Madness. This game was Night at the Museum a decade early. You play a kid looking strangely like the one from Princess Bride, and your partner is an R2-D2 ripoff named Mick, short for Museum Information Computer Kiosk. That's right, your partner is an informational kiosk. Oh, educational games.
The museum has been struck with a computer virus, and you must save it by rescuing kangaroos, stopping pollution, and doing more slide puzzles than you can shake a simple machine at. Like a lever. See, I learned that from this game.
All set to the smoothest jazz Windows 95 could pump out. Listen to that soundtrack.
Geography is boring. I am borderline furious that I was tricked into playing a game about geography for more than just a few minutes.
You have to give credit where credit is due, though. Tricking kids into learning about the world by sending them after a criminal mastermind? Genius.
Yeah, I guess so. Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego wasn't just a computer game. It was also a game show, a comic book, an animated series. She was everywhere.
Your job as a gumshoe was to track down some of Carmen Sandiego's crooks and eventually take down the Miss of Misdemeanor herself. You tracked down these thieves through the use of geography and history clues in the early games, but later on they began to incorporate math and English as well.
There were so many versions of Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world, where in the USA, where in space, where in time. If there's a place or a time period, there's a chance that Carmen could be there. I really liked the updated versions of the older games. Not that there was a problem with them, but once the chief was played by the same actress from the television series, I mean, can it get any better?
Yes. Yes, it can. Do it, Rockapella! For legal reasons, we can only play 3 seconds of that song. But man, that was a glorious 3 seconds.
Math is boring.
You said the same thing about geography.
I find a lot of things boring, okay? I'll make you a list.
The top 10 things Savage Ferret finds boring?
Oh my god, that joke is so old.
Math might have been boring for you, but did you ever play Number Munchers? It's Pac-Man with numbers.
Of course, Number Munchers was my jam. And I wasn't even being fooled into doing math. This was straight up math, and it was addicting.
The concept was simple. An answer appears at the top of the screen, and you had to munch the equations that produce the answer. You could also get questions like multiples of 2 and have to eat all the even numbers.
Munch on an incorrect answer and you lose a life. Also, beware of deadly troggles who wander around the grid looking to munch on you to death.
Once again, death featured very heavily. Learning is a serious game. You win or you die.
Although, this has to be the happiest game that involves you being devoured by a monster. The Muncher is smiling, the Troggles are smiling, everybody's happy. Well, until you get eaten, that is. That's when the crippling depression sets in.
The Munchers series had a number of installments, eventually branching out from math and making some word muncher games, as well as Super Munchers, which quizzed you on things like animals, food, and, sorry Ian, geography. But no matter what the subject, Munchers remained a fun way to brush up some knowledge, making it a clear-cut classroom favorite. So that brings us halfway through our top 10 edutainment games, and the best 5 are coming up next.
Click this annotation here to go see the other half of the list over on my channel. Think you know what the number 1 pick is? Take a guess and then go see if you're right.
But seriously, click the annotation. You know you want to know what number 1 is, and spoiler alert, it may not be Oregon Trail. It might be, sure, but it might not be. Satisfy your curiosity. Click the button. All right, I'm done here. Top 5.